The wintry white mix caused havoc across the region this morning. Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Well, the snowfall this morning came as a surprise to motorists and school systems across the region. The Prince George's School Board originally called for a 2-hour delay, but ended up closing schools because of the weather conditions. Many drivers probably wish their jobs did the same after waiting in traffic for hours. Latifah Majid has more.
Right now, things are moving smooth on the Beltway, but that wasn't the case this morning. It took motorists hours to get to work for commutes that normally take 30 minutes or less. Some residents stayed home and cleared off their sidewalks. Others were stuck in traffic.
You had EMS up there trying to help people come up the hill because it was so icy underneath the snow.
Curtis Richardson says that it took him over an hour to get to work because traffic was so backed up.
Usually if I go 193, it's a half hour. If I go to Beltway, it's 20 minutes.
Richardson, who works for the school system, says that he was already on his way when the board decided to close classes for the day.
That's how bad the roads were. And as of, I left there about an hour ago, and they still haven't been touched. 193 hasn't been touched up in the Greenbelt area at all.
The Department of Public Works and Transportation sent 125 trucks out this morning to plow the roadways. But since the snow hit during rush hour, it made it difficult to treat the streets.
We were out there, we were pre-treating, we were putting down salt, but with that amount of cars on the roadway, it makes it more difficult to treat the roads.
Officials say that motorists should still be extra cautious while traveling over bridges and ramps because they are the first to freeze.
Stay alert, keep a safe distance between the cars. As you said, it may look like it's roadway or slush, but with the temperatures being at freezing, you have the chance that it can be frozen.
Now, as I was traveling this afternoon, I actually saw a car that had slid into the back of a metro bus. So as you're traveling this evening, just be careful because as the temperature drops, the roads will become icier. In Largo, I'm Latifah Majid, CTV News.
And temperatures are expected to be in the 20s tonight, so watch out for that black ice. Well, this morning's commute was a nightmare for people across the region. Transportation crews pre-treated some roads in anticipation of the snow, but a heavier than expected band came through the metro area, dumping the white stuff faster than it could be plowed. The storm hit at the worst possible time, making for a treacherous drive to work for many, including our Rochelle Metzger. She's in Montgomery County with more.
The last time I remember being this scared while driving during a winter storm was Snowmageddon back in 2010. If you look at the roads now, you see pavement. Just a few hours ago, the roads looked more like this. If you look at the parking lot across the street, it's covered in snow. What a difference just a few hours makes. I left for work around 7:30, giving myself an extra half hour because of the weather. But like many drivers, I would soon learn that was a gross underestimate. Just trying to get from River Road in Montgomery County to the 270-495 merge on the Beltway near Old Georgetown Road, normally a 12 to 13-minute drive, took me nearly 2 hours. All around me, cars were spinning, sliding on the slushy, snow-covered roads. Some drivers ended up pulling over on the side of the roadway. Others conked out in the middle of multiple lanes of traffic. I saw more tow trucks than plow trucks. Roads that are normally 2 lanes were down to 1. Areas of the Beltway, normally 4 lanes across, down to 2, and in some places, 1 lane of traffic. And in other parts, cars were backed up for miles. Sitting in the car for several hours during my drive this morning, I was listening to the radio and heard many commuters tell very similar stories. Thankfully, as you can see, the roads, at least here in Bethesda off River Road, are clear. The snow has stopped falling. Plows have been able to get through. So here's hoping that the evening rush hour commute is much easier than the one we experienced this morning. In Montgomery County, I'm Rochelle Metzger. Back to you all in the studio.
And Maryland State Police assigned extra troopers to road patrol today to help respond to numerous minor crashes across the state. Well, safe driving should be standard operating procedure, but some days are more challenging than others. Today was one of those days. Our Byron Scott has this report on how to stay safe on the roads when the weather turns south.
Right now, the roads don't look too bad. Take a look at this here. The roads are in pretty good condition, but right now it's 5 minutes to 1 in the afternoon. But earlier, these roads were a real mess.
I was driving, I went to pick up my brother in Baltimore on a 95. People were sliding from left to right. I almost got in an accident myself.
Jules Tam's story was a common tale among AM commuters.
Very adventurous.
difficult to move around, and noticed that cars were just going slowly.
In short, getting to work today was a drag, if not dangerous.
I can't even describe it. I slid about 4 times trying to get from below 202 to Largo Station.
Ironically, even though there were many accidents on Prince George's roads, Mark Brady of the county's fire department says they weren't as busy as you might think, and here's why.
The rush hour traffic slowed to a crawl. When that occurs and roadways are jammed, you don't have crashes that involve injuries because they're very slow speed, low impact type crashes, property damage only. We started getting busy around 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning when all those traffic jams cleared up. People were able to start moving at speed. Crashes occurred because of wet roads, and then we had some injuries. Nothing significant by any means, but certainly we did start having some crashes, especially on the Capitol Beltway.
So how can one stay safe on the roads when the weather turns south?
You have to be aware of the conditions. You need to reduce your speed and increase the distance between you and the car in front of you. Always drive with your traffic lights on, always drive defensively. You know, you may be the safest driver in the world, but if it's the other person driving recklessly, you know, there's not much you can do about it, but be defensive when you are driving.
And for those of you who think driving an SUV in inclement weather is the answer, Mark Brady has this advice.
The crashes we did see today, a lot of them involve single vehicles that are SUVs. The drivers thinking they have some magic power that they can conquer the snow, traveling at whatever speed they want, and they're finding out that's not true.
On the highways, Byron Scott, CTV News.
Well, the main roads are clearing up, but some neighborhood streets are still covered in snow. The Woodview community operates on a private system run by its homeowners association. Rules state that there must be at least 2 inches of snow before a private contractor is sent to plow the streets. One resident says that the snow on the road should melt as traffic goes in and out of the neighborhood.
Well, I'm pretty surprised at the accumulation. But I saw the red on the maps for traffic, and I decided to take advantage of telecommuting today. We have a certain requirement for inches. I used to be on the board of this HOA, so they've not yet met the requirements yet to come out. They forecast a little snow coming in this afternoon, and hopefully that'll melt this remaining snow on the ground.
And county residents are required by law to clear snow and ice from their walkways within 24 hours. Well, it looks like a winter wonderland in a Lake Arbor neighborhood. The scene may be picturesque, but residents on one street say it's created hard work as they shovel the driveways and sidewalks. CTV spoke with 2 people about the unexpected amount of snow they saw this morning.
The report seemed to suggest that it might be big, but I was surprised because earlier reports were that it would not. So I wasn't prepared for this. About an hour, and I shoveled it twice. First time, I thought I was getting ahead of the storm, and unfortunately, by the time I finished, there was just as much snow on the ground as there was when I started. So I came back out after it lightened up a little, and now, as you can see, it's much better.
It's just enough snow just to make it look like winter, and it's beautiful. And I don't mind shoveling the snow, and I have nowhere to go today. But I have to get out here and shovel this sidewalk because children will be back in school soon, and some will have to walk, and it's important that we get our sidewalks shoveled.
And Prince George's County may require homeowners to shovel their own driveways, but officials suggest waiting until residential roads are cleared first to avoid being blocked in by plow trucks. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone.